In my prior videos, we looked at a particular type of narcissistic depression known as white depression. This term is used in psychoanalytic theory to describe a deep sense of an inner void, emptiness, a lack of vitality, and a sense of futility in life. In my last video, I began to describe the techniques that I have found to be most helpful in addressing this inner void. Most importantly, I mentioned that there's a deep identification. This is the internalization of a caregiver who was narcissistically preoccupied and lacked vitality, interest, investment, and therefore all of this was taken in and became part of one's personality. So today, the core of the sense of self stands still. Nothing ever really changes, and you carry this feeling with you no matter where you go. In other words, you or someone you know can never really feel excited or invested in life. By relinquishing all hope and desire and investment, you stay deeply connected with this internalized image of what we came to call in those prior videos the dead caregiver, or what's known in psychoanalytic terms as the dead mother. So as you live a life devoid of meaning and vitality, you stay deeply connected, paradoxically, with this caregiver who also lacked vitality because of their own deep depression or narcissistic preoccupations. The essence of the therapeutic work involves recognizing this identification and helping this type of individual become more affectively involved and alive. As I demonstrated in the prior video, this initially is done by appreciating one's subjective experience of the meaningless or futility of really getting involved in a project, for instance, such as cleaning one's room, because the parent's response was lackluster. There was no involvement. There was no sense of what you do leads to some sort of meaningful outcome. So what I'm saying is, by acknowledging how deeply disappointed they felt when their father didn't recognize that they cleaned their room, they can begin to feel more connected, understood, and that's the emotional resonance that I mentioned in the prior videos, or affective attunement. So in short, what I have noticed, as they begin to feel understood, deeply noticed, and appreciated, in a sort of way, they start to become affectively alive. It's sort of a restoring of emotional vitality. However, this is difficult because it also means, as we get deeper into the work, that there has to be some recognition that you cannot resuscitate what we call the dead mother, right? The caregiver who was never affectively alive. There's no resuscitating that they are lost. And this is really hard. And this leads to a process of mourning, of giving up something, which is incredibly painful. Living a life that's separate and giving up this deep identification with this dead caregiver oftentimes brings about guilt. But this is not the type of guilt that's persecutory in nature that I've also discussed in prior videos. This is more of a healthy guilt that propels one to move forward in life. This kind of guilt can be experienced when one does something as simple, but yet this is very complicated for them, but as simple as engaging in a meaningful relationship or feeling proud about some work project that they completed. See, in other words, that is a separation from this caregiver who was not able to do that. And that can leave one feeling quite guilty because you're leaving the caregiver behind. Unfortunately, we have to stop here for now, but if you want to hear more about this transformational process, that's the process of detachment and mourning that's kicked off by a feeling of guilt, again, not persecutory guilt, please consider subscribing to this channel, where I'm still going to go into details about these nuances of narcissism. But if you are interested in doing a much deeper dive, you can go check out my podcast, where I go into even more detail there. All right, until next time, bye for now.